studies. Prof, good morning to you.
Good morning, Senna, and good morning to you, your team, and all those listening to you live and online. Greetings from Tamale.
And I was just speaking to a private legal practitioner who's of the opinion that every argument he said is an argument of politics, not an argument of the law. Because when you take them into the law, they sound absurd and actually they sound untenable. So for you, and I'm sure you've been following the debate because you are also not a lawyer, and I'm sure you're also interested in listening to what the lawyers say about something you may consider constitutional. What do you think about the arguments being put forward, especially by the New Patriotic Party and its apologists, on the matter of the CJ suspension?
Well, thank you very much, Senna. A great question. And I will approach it from the political science perspective. As you rightly pointed out, I'm not a lawyer. But true, I've been following the debates and especially the argument from the New Patriotic side, and the way in which they think that this case is, as they describe it, a judicial coup. Some describe it as abuse of power by the president. The former Deputy Attorney General described it as poisonous to the judicial system. So, to a greater extent, they are basically politicizing this case, even though their MP has sent the case to court. So, on one hand, they want to use legal means, but on the other hand, they are also basically playing politics with it. Because the question is, clearly, as the lawyers have been pointing out, the president is acting in accordance with Article 146 of the Constitution. And he's not the first person to do that. The former president, Nana Akufo-Addo, received a similar petition from Professor Asare, known as Professor Azar, and followed the same constitutional process and procedures, only that he arrived at with the advice of the Council of State that the petition did not make a prima facie case for the removal of the Chief Justice. So there's no difference between the two presidents in terms of the way they handled this case. Just that in this case, with the consultation of the Council of State, it seems they have concluded that there's a prima facie case for the case to proceed. And the president, again, acting in line with the Constitution, suspended the Chief Justice. All these are within the Constitution. And by the way, we are a country governed by laws, and the supreme law is the Constitution. So why is the NPP, which is supposed to be a party that promotes democracy, a party that promotes rule of law, up in arms and saying that this is an affront on the judiciary? This is politics and not about the law. I don't get it. So I just think that this is one of the cases that you can see the NPP is taking a strategy, and their strategy, as I've always told you, is about obstruction, to stall, and to do as much as they can to, disturb the free flow of governance under President Mahama. This is exactly what they are doing. There's nothing to read than just to obstruct.
To obstruct.
Yes.
You're saying, as far as you're concerned, the processes followed thus far do not raise any of the issues that they are complaining about.
No, because the president so far, as the lawyers have been telling you, is following the Constitution. And we are all governed by the Constitution. So what wrong has the president done? It looks like there is this kind of position that the MPP seems to be taking. They seem to be suggesting that when it comes to governance, President Akufo-Addo can govern and do anything once it is within the Constitution. And sometimes I will claim in some of his actions were extra various, as they will say. I mean, not constitutional, but that's a different matter. But when it comes to President Mahama, for him, he's a different president. He doesn't have to govern within the framework of the Constitution. I just don't understand this posture. I mean, the person has been elected massively, and he's given the mandate to govern. And I'll be surprised if he doesn't take this mandate seriously and actually govern in the way that the people expect him to do. So for me, the president is doing the right thing. I will urge him not to even try to be, not even shiver a little bit, because this is what the people of Ghana have elected him to do. And he should not prove to be a weak leader by capitulating to this, this pressure and threats from the NPP. I will wish that he will continue on this road, and where the need arises and where he is backed by the Constitution, he should do more of this. This is what I will argue.
But the MPP's argument is this: once you start this cycle, it will never end. That once you are able to get to the point where you make you actually make a case that leads to the removal of the Chief Justice, if they come, they can also do same, because the precedent has already been set. Is that not a dangerous precedent to set?
Then I don't think so. They are already presuming that this is going to continue, and it will lead to the firing of the Chief Justice by the incumbent president. So now, why are they rushing? If it's established that the Chief Justice has misconducted herself, is incompetent by her actions, I mean, the law says that she should be fired and a new Chief Justice be appointed. It doesn't mean that Chief Justices that will be appointed would necessarily behave the same way as this present Chief Justice who has been suspended. So are they suggesting that whether you act in a way that shows that you are competent, if you don't misbehave, it doesn't matter, and for that matter, once they are in power, they are going to remove whoever is a Chief Justice? I mean, if that is the way they are suggesting, then so be it. But for now, there's a person called President John Mahama who has been voted by the citizens. He has been given the mandate. Presently, he is the president, and he has to govern. He can't be detained from governing because of this threat. Once he's doing the right thing, and within the Constitution, this threat that this is setting a dangerous precedent is neither here nor there. There is always the first time, and this depends on the circumstances. So now, if we want to go into what now the petitions have been made public, but I'm not even going there. But if you give me the chance and you want to look at some of the things that happened under this Chief Justice, I mean, any ordinary person can conclude that there has never been a Chief Justice who has behaved this way before. So I don't see the comparison. I don't see any similarity, and unless a new Chief Justice comes in, and then that's worse things. But for now, if we want to go down and look at some of the things, the basis for the petition, I mean, I don't see the threat here. Are they suggesting that somebody else will come and do the same thing?
And let me conclude with you by asking a question of the sensitive nature of the three powers that we run with. There are those who talk about separation of powers, that you must also always be careful, no matter what power is given to you, over the other arm in exercising it, to the point that you do not tread that fine thin line that's supposed to exist between one power and the other. That there are many times when presidents have received petitions for the removal of a CJ, but they decide that in order not to perhaps cross that line, we have seen it, but we will ignore it. That this is a president going over the line, even though it is in line with the Constitution. That if you're looking at it politically, if you consider the fact that the powers are supposed to be separated, you are not even supposed to go there in the first place. Is that an argument that should hold sway?
No, it's not an argument. It's actually, this is part of the checks and balances that is baked into the powers of separation of power. It's not just separation of power, but there are checks and balances. And precisely the reason, this is just by a layman's perspective, this Chief Justice who has now been suspended, has taken certain decisions, the latest being Speaker Bagbe's case, in which she literally overextended the powers of the independence of the judiciary to the legislature, a political issue. That's what I describe as the judicialization of politics, or juristocracy. I discussed it the other time. And a number of cases can be cited, and some of them don't make sense. Look at the situation where, in the case of Professor Azar's petition, she literally was requesting the president to appoint certain judges without resorting to constitutional procedures. So she's literally now into the political field, the political arena, rather than the judiciary independence that she's supposed to exercise. Look at a case like Opuni's trial. Several reconstitution of panels, both the trial judge who was transferred when he took over the case and said there should be a new trial, to the point where the lawyers of Opuni appealed to the Supreme Court. A panel was constituted, headed by a different judge, but she reconstituted that panel too, and took over as the chair of that panel. And then, of course, the ruling didn't go in favor of Opuni. So, I mean, and we can mention several cases, and that's why the National Security Minister, Ken Dapal, once warned that if cases continue to go in the favor of the then incumbent government, that was a national security threat, because citizens are losing confidence in the judiciary, and this has been, proven by research by Afrobarometer. Over 80% of Ghanaians don't trust the judiciary under this Chief Justice. Some 60% or more think that the judiciary is corrupt. I mean, if you look at the way certain cases have been fixed and tried with speed of lightning, and others have dragged on for years, this is precisely a case where you can see the judiciary actually not respecting separation of power, and rather making a foray and actually going into politics rather than confining themselves to the law. So actually, I mean, if we have to accuse anybody of going against separation of powers, then it will be the judiciary under this suspended Chief Justice, I would argue.
Prof, thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much.
Professor JASPER AYELAZUNO is Associate Professor of Political Science, University of Development Studies. Of course, we're still discussing this matter.